We are back. The Smash Bros. Cast is here yet again. Episode 84. Nightcrawler, what's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going? And it's Crawler coming at you.
That is right. We got a special guest, Mr. Cool Red Luigi. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, it's great to be here and excited to talk some Smash with you guys.
I really think he wanted to say it's Mr. Cool Red Luigi coming at ya.
There you go.
It's like, no, nope. All right, well, we're just gonna jump right on in to there's a lot to discuss, but you know, before we do, I should mention one thing. We have a tournament coming up on the 24th. That's right, n64josh.com/smash. Go and register. I want to see 100 people in this tournament. I want to see 100 people there. So no matter your skill level, come join this thing. It's free. All you can do is learn here or possibly dominate. It's really up to you. So,
and if I win, what do I get, Josh?
a $20 Amazon gift card. Second place, $10 Amazon gift card. It used to be eShop cards, but then I'm like, I had a few people ask, like, could it not be an eShop card? I was like, yeah, maybe they don't want to buy stuff in the eShop. I get it. So with Amazon card, they can buy whatever they want, wherever they want. So, yeah, so come on out for that. n64josh.com/smash. Also, jump in the Discord, get some matches, and you know what? Go. If you're on TikTok, go follow my TikTok because I'm taking over Smash TikTok. All right, that's what's happening. That is what's happening over there. So come hang out. But Steve is here. We're gonna talk about Steve. We're gonna talk about all of his glitchy goodness. We're also gonna talk some about neutral game because I feel like we got one of the best neutral game players in the game with us tonight, Mr. Cool Red Luigi. I'm looking at you. I am looking at you.
Flattered.
Yeah. So we experienced a glitch last night, right? Let's just get right into Steve and some of these glitches right away, and we'll talk about our impressions and whatnot. But let's talk about the glitches first. Mr. Cool Red Luigi down smashed Crawler as Crawler threw the cart, and Mr. Cool Red Luigi was then stuck in.
Yeah, you trade spots, and the cart takes over the attacker or I was the attacker, and it takes over and puts the attackee inside the cart. But
Exactly.
Mr. Cool Red Luigi you had down smashed right as like that exchange took place, and it freezes you there.
Yeah, and luckily I had stayed on the stage right at the very edge of it, and I was mashing nothing, couldn't move, and I hardly had any damage on me, if I recall correctly, and I just had to stay there until you finally smashed me out of it.
Yep.
We were laughing. We were live on Twitch, and we're like, I'm talking about whatever because I wasn't playing, and then I look over and he's just sitting there, and I was like, and Crawler's just mining away, going to town on with the pickaxe, and I'm like, what's he doing? And Crawler starts laughing. He's like, I don't know. He's just, and then we look over in chat, and you're like, I'm stuck. I cannot move. We were like, okay, well that's.
Yeah, it was a good 30 seconds before you guys came to that realization that I was just sitting there waiting for something to happen.
Well, I was off, like I was doing other things. I was messing with my cameras and stuff on OBS.
I was hunting for diamonds.
Right.
That's what I was hunting.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of the character, Mr. Cool? I'll let you start. You immediately said it was your main. Now you've said this with multiple characters. As soon as
almost every single DLC released,
like,
new main found,
new main,
two matches in Elite.
Yeah, it's a funny bit I like to do, but no, this character is fun. So much that you have to learn, and just having one day on it, everything that we talk about right now, it could be a complete 180 than a month from now. So, but I do like the character a lot. I do think that it has a lot of potential. I see some very polarizing opinions on it from pro Smash players. Some people say he's worse than Mac. Some people say he's going to be high tier at least. But right now it's just fun kind of getting the hang of him. I probably enjoy him a little bit more than I enjoyed some of the other DLC characters. I enjoy him more than Byleth. I enjoy him more than Piranha, um, more than Hero. Just because there's just so much that you can do and so many different variables to his moveset.
More than Min Min?
Yeah, I like him more than Min Min. Min Min was fun at the time, but her her moveset is so stale, it seems like nowadays, and
Yeah.
I don't see anyone playing Min Min anymore. It was fun to have that type of variety when it released,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I her moveset is so stale that I rarely pick her up anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up the. We're gonna talk patch notes a little bit later on. I just want to see if she ended up seeing much love or not. But Crawler, what do you think? What do you think of Steve?
Uh, you can kill yourself easily with this character.
Yeah.
I haven't mastered the art of the glider, I guess, and the ins and outs of it, but I also think once some more videos come out and there's a full understanding of exactly how far off the stage you can be and plant a Minecraft block, that would be interesting to know just for recovery sake, how far down below the stage you can plant a block, because that would actually help a lot than just kind of shoehorning you into only having to rely on uh, the glider uh, from down below, um, because it definitely it stalls out and you might be just that close to being able to grab the ledge and you don't grab it, and then you're just stuck in that animation for the rest of the rest of your slow agonizing death as you fall. But it's definitely a, like we were talking last week, just it's going to be a resource heavy management. And last night I think wasn't true to form on how hectic it's going to be, because everyone wanted to just mine off the bat. It's definitely going to be a gather resources when you clear somebody off the stage, and it's going to be a quick grab for it. You don't want to be caught without resources. There was a few times Josh and I were facing last night, and he had no materials, and there's like nothing you can do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You're just really stuck. Having gold, red dust, and steel in your inventory is really helpful for that minecart, especially if you're way far off the platform. You can use that as a nice tool to get back to the stage. But if you're stuck without any of those, well, if you just have steel and wood, um, you're good to be able to get your. Do you need wood? Is that something that is
I
consumed?
believe you need wood for the tracks. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Yeah, because I know you need steel. I just don't know if you need wood, but that would make sense if they're true to form with all that stuff.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, it's super important that you keep that bar filled up. Uh, iron and stone will replace like the lesser materials, so you'll push out wood, which is good. It's also good to have a diamond or gold kind of in your inventory if you die, so you can come back right away and get a more powerful weapon. But you can only hold on to one gold and one diamond at a time. So if you consume it, making a new sword, then you want to make sure you're mining again to have that back to replace if it breaks, or if you die, so you can come back and have something that's actually going to do damage. Because even a strong smash attack with a wooden sword isn't going to do a lot.
yeah. It was pretty funny a few times. Like, it got to, at one point it was like we were all, we had all the material we needed, and it was just minecart after minecart, and it was like who's gonna get above the other person's minecart just enough to make sure it hits, or are they gonna hit each other? And then
And I don't know the rock paper scissors formula for what determines what. Is it just resources after? Is it consume all your resources and whoever runs out loses? I don't even know.
it seemed like if you had redstone, you would go faster, and then
Yes.
I
Yep.
think the person with the most momentum, or maybe with the most redstone, maybe that's what would keep, or maybe it was based on certain materials, and when you ran out of as far as track being built, possibly. I don't, I'm not entirely sure there on what it was, but the few times I got knocked off stage and had no material, that minecart is very handy for getting back to stage safely, right? It's very handy, and not having it is like, it's a nightmare. Probably my favorite thing that happened was after stream, I went and played about a half hour in quick play, and flooding the minecart stops it dead in its tracks, and it just sinks. It just drops out of the air. Like, and I have a clip of I think it was a zombie, and it stops, falls, misses the stage, up bees, and then just floats until it underneath the stage, and then dies. And I was cracking up, because like it just stopped it dead. So we're a day into this. We've seen some crazy strings. We've seen some crazy, some 0 to death combos that work on certain characters. Don't work on all of them. We the Reddit post we all looked over is, a lot of people are like, look, we see all these 0 to deaths the first day, and then I think Byleth had some really cool ones. I don't even know if anybody took the time to figure out if Min did or not, but
Terry had some pretty crazy ones.
Yeah, that's right. I remember those too. So but like, and like Mr. Cool was saying, like some of the pros are thinking this character is worse than Mac. Like, do any of us think that? Like, Mr. Cool, do you think that?
No, I don't think that at all. And it was very surprising for me to actually see someone, I believe it was Iza, the creator of the Art of series. He came out, I watched his stream a little bit, and he came out right away after the stream and said that Steve was the worst character in the game and worse than Mac. And it just blew my mind for someone that's that analytical to after 2 days just assume that this character is that bad, because I don't think it's that bad. He has way too many tools.
Mac is more
Mac.
Mac is more one-dimensional, and I think Steve has mix-up options at least.
Exactly. Especially like all Mac or all Steve has to do is get Mac off stage, just like any other character has to do. And the tools that he has in advantage, all the ledge trapping and edge guarding that he can do, I just don't see how Mac is a better character than Steve.
Yeah, that's hard. It's a little bit hard to believe too. The one nice thing to point out too is that there's so much that's true to Minecraft with Steve, right? Like it feels like there was no detail missed. When you're mining, you don't have to stand still. Although I think watching us play last night, a lot of people did that, but you don't have to. You can just move, and it's very reminiscent of the way you build in Move in Minecraft, and you could see it like if you drop TNT and then keep holding B and just walk backwards, you keep building that little redstone line, or flint or whatever it is, and not the flint, but the I get fuse, and so there's so much about the character that the detail is great, but I mean, I don't know. You watch Little Mac and you're just like, he's done off stage. He's just done. There's nothing. And as long as this character has material, you're pretty much getting back to stage no problem. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, the only argument I could have seen about Mac being better is that it seems like Steve is a very momentum heavy character. You want to get your opponent off stage right away. You want to be able to create that space so that you can mine for resources right away. And like we've said before, if Steve doesn't have those resources, he's pretty useless. So in that case, with the fact that Mac is faster, especially on the stage, I could see Mac overwhelming Steve sometimes, but just the mobility that Steve can have with the carts and stuff like that, I still don't see that being a winning matchup for Mac at all.
I think it's going to be like every character, right? You take a heavy versus Mario, and it's typically going to be combo food, right? But I think a fast character like Mario or Pichu or Pikachu or something against Steve, he's gonna struggle. I think that's where he's gonna have a bit of a hard time, because if you take your hand off the if you're mining, you're kind of leaving yourself open, and so it is going to be pretty resource intensive, like we talked about. But did you already got him into elite, right? You said it took 2 matches.
Yeah, it was only a couple matches. I played another Steve, and then I played a Mario and won those 2 matches, and then he was in elite. And the hardest matchups I've seen so far are characters that can really space them out. I have played a couple Min-Mins, I've played a couple Corins, a couple of Byleths and Swords, and those characters, they do such a good job at keeping Steve at bay that it's hard to get any kind of hits in. And then when you are trying to mine, then they just come and rush you down. Or like in Byleth's case, they'll shoot an arrow, or in Min-Min's case, that they'll smash attack from as far as they can reach with the dragon.
Yeah.
And those characters for sure are going to give him a very, very hard time. I couldn't think of anything that I could have done differently to overwhelm them, and it was just a tough matchup.
I played a good handful of matches in quick play last night, mostly as Corin, and I think I only lost 1, and it was mainly Steve's that I was facing last night. So yeah, I feel like the neutral air, just with Corin with the sword spinning around, it definitely spaces him out there just in the neutral game, because his neutral is not very strong when it comes to just that, because it's that forward momentum kind of attack that his jumping air neutral, I don't even know what it does. Is it just a small little like fair, almost similar to
It's
the
like
fair?
just like a jab, pretty much, just an
Yeah.
air
Yeah,
jab.
it's very weak. It doesn't cover a lot of protection around you at all. Like where Steve excels, I think, is the down air and the up smash. I think are like big go-tos for him with the magma block and and down smash too. But the anvil in the air is a very good tool, and then the lava throw is a good covering attack, and it covers a lot of that. The magma block above you has such a strong drag up. I mean, even if it's just if you're standing beside somebody, I feel like it's almost like the Mario up smash, where it'll just drag you up into it, and you're going to get hit by it kind of regardless where you are.
Yeah, his Steve's vertical game is where he really shines, at least on stage. I mean, of course, this character is going to have a lot of tools to edge guard and to play in the advantage, but if he's playing up and down on the stage, then that's where he's really going to shine. Horizontally, he has a hard time. I mean, unless you're using carts to approach, then there really isn't much else you can do. And then if you don't have the resources to use carts, then it's a losing battle.
Yeah, and his grab is effective at range, but you miss that grab and it feels like you're standing there for an hour waiting to get punched, like
Yeah, slow.
it's very slow, and it doesn't help. I tried using it to get back to stage. It doesn't grab.
It doesn't grab.
No, it doesn't. As far as I could tell, anyway. Nothing. I don't think I need a resource to make that happen.
I feel like we would have seen that in the 45-minute video if his grab would have could attach.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's just
it's tough to get used to. It is. It's really tough to get used to because it's Steve, so he has weird animations. So it's kind of hard to sometimes time out how long it's going to take for that animation to be done with.
Yeah,
especially
and
right now,
the jump too is rough. Like
yes.
that's shorter jump.
Yeah, actually, someone in our Discord, they were having an issue. They didn't think that they were getting their second jump, and they even posted a video that I took a look at, and here they were walking off stage before they even did their first jump. But they thought that they had just, exhausted their first jump while on stage. But in reality, they were already in the air and they used their second jump, not knowing that they didn't have a jump after that. So then they just fell to their death.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few times yesterday. It was like grab, maybe forward throw, grab again. Like you could almost chain the grabs together, but it's going to be very dependent upon percentages and character weight. It's all going to be a factor, and that's just going to be learning those matchups. But it really just seems like the way you want to be an advantage with Steve is get your opponent off the stage, be mining, and then be ready to hit them with whatever you can. Like either use some blocks to keep them off stage, wall them out, or that the minecart is great right on the ledge. And yeah,
especially if they've taken damage. The more damage they have taken, the longer they're stuck in the cart as it flies off the course.
Yeah, and sometimes you're standing
really
off.
Going to have to get in the advantage.
Absolutely, yeah, and sometimes you're standing off stage building blocks just to try to get back, and somebody throws a cart at you, and you fall to your death. I won't name any names, Crawler. We laughed pretty hard at that one. So, but yeah. So I mean, overall, I'm curious to see my matches against him. I was in the same boat. I lost one. I had a false finish that I was like, I just thought it was over, and then they came, like I it was one of those things. I was like, oh, I'm still in this, and then I got cracked with a forward, like just the forward smash, and that ended it. And I was like, are you serious? But that was the only match I lost last night. Everything else, but a lot of it was just, you could just see the inexperience of players doing their second jump, just literally feeding me spikes, like the easiest thing to read in the game, the way people come back to stage. So
it's scary going below stage with Steve because of that Elytra being so unpredictable sometimes.
Yeah,
and you're just not used to it yet.
And that's why I said I'm kind of waiting for those videos to come out that are going to show us exactly how far down on a stage you can throw out the neutral B build and have something to stand on down there.
I saw somebody footstool off of somebody on the ledge and then up B with Steve off of that. I was like, that's effective. But talking about his animations too, like his roll isn't a roll. His whole body spins.
I haven't even tried to do that with him.
In the upright position. It's like his head. I don't even know if his head stays. I don't know. It's just his whole thing spins. That's it. And then that's your roll. And like, there's sometimes you're coming back to stage and you're like, okay, I should be fine. Then you hit the ground and then you fall over, right? And it's like this weird flat, like you just,
his legs are still walking. Like even if he's up in the air, his legs are still walking. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. It's
and the random bow sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, is that his crouch?
I think that's his crouch. Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Yeah, so I don't know.
We didn't put him to sleep last night, but that animation is still funny.
Yeah, and we didn't test Kirby either, but yeah. Oh, I mean, overall, I think it's a fun character. I'm excited to see. I fired up Twitch for just a second. There was 10,000 viewers in Smash, so I was like, well, that's something, I mean, it's not the best numbers in the world. Obviously, it's not Among Us numbers, but it was still good to see that there was some people interested, And I'm very curious about sales numbers with the Minecraft characters being in this game now. If what it's gonna do to Smash sales, we'll find out in about a month or so to see if it bumped them up in the charts or not. So. But well, moving along, we can touch on the patch notes a little bit, and then I like I said, I do want to talk neutral games. So the update 9.0 came out, and the first thing I noticed is that my entire roster GSP had jumped significantly, like by like 3 million points, 2 million, 2.5 million in some cases, and over 3 million in other cases. And so I haven't. Again, when I looked for patch notes, all it showed me was what adjustments were made to the fighters. It didn't really have anything else, you know. So, you noticed the same thing, right, Crawler? Your GSP had gone up for some characters.
I don't know if it had gone up significantly as much as you had said, but it's been a while since I've hopped in. You had been playing more, so maybe you had more current active data tracked there that they made adjustments.
I'm having my son check because he got tired of his GSP had fallen down to like 60K or something, and he was like, I could win 5 matches in a row and I'd be at like 80K. He goes, so it's like it just got to the point where he was like, I don't even care anymore. So he was gonna check to see how where his ended up. But I was just surprised to see almost all my characters were at 5 million. And they were all at under 2 million before.
Yeah, the characters I haven't played, the starting GSP is my roster GSP or whatever is like 6 mil. But like that's the standard starting point. But my roster GSP I think is around 5.5 or something like that. And then my maximum is like 7.
And Mr. Cooley, now you're missing what, 2 characters out of Elite now?
Ryu and Ken.
Oh, 3. Ryu, Ken, and Bayonetta. Still.
Now with her buff, you think you'll be able to do it?
No, I haven't given up, but that character has mechanics that just are so different, and she has a really bad disadvantage, and her smash attacks are slow, and she doesn't play around my style, and it's tough.
Got it. What's the deal with Ken and Ryu?
Just not practicing their kit. I know that they have a very unique move set, and they're really good at rushing in and staying in. I just haven't gotten those combos down.
Got it.
But you're able to do Terry?
Yeah, I was able to do Terry just fine, which was confusing to me. Because he does have similar inputs.
Yeah, interesting. So we don't have to go through every one of these notes just because it's pretty lengthy, but I think one of the main ones worth noting was Ness. His dash attack, increased power of the third attack and extended launch distance. Up tilt attack, maintained the launch distance and increased power. Down air, increased attack speed. And I saw a clip on Twitter of somebody doing a down air into a down air that spiked and sent the person off the edge of the stage. They were just playing against computer, of course, so keep that in mind. But his up throw is increased power, and neutral special increased attack speed. So there's that. Captain Falcon, his up smash got a little bit of made it easier to hit multiple times.
I think that's a standard kind of, if you see the up smash, that's a kind of a normal thing that they did in this patch. Sonic,
a lot of multiple hits.
Yeah, multiple hits and KO flurry hits, and looks like Simon and Richter got some just increased power and speed and range. Ridley, that's kind of just meh. Bowser Jr. got speed and easier to hit multiple times. Launch distance, which can be a buff, can be a nerf. It just depends on how that leads into combos. Usually the launch distance increase is to negate combos, so that's kind of viewed as usually a nerf. But otherwise it looks like Bowser Jr. got kind of buffed a little bit.
Yeah,
Ice Climbers is a very unique one.
Is that up near the top? I think that's up there.
Yeah, it's by Ness. The fact that Ice Climbers, the fact that Nana has a little bit better understanding as an AI.
She doesn't die all the time.
Yeah, that's a big buff in itself.
It screws you a lot if Nana dies to some bad stuff, because it just it totally takes like the ability to recover quite a bit out of the equation.
Yeah, they got quite a bit. Increased the speed of edge grabbing timing, extended launch distance, made it easier to hit multiple times, increased the range of attack with their dash attack, and then adjusted Nana's AI behavior is what it says. So that's good.
Yeah, having it also the up special made it so that Nana performing an up special automatically will not prevent the player from being able to perform an up special, because you could die a lot from that situation as well.
Oh, got it.
Nana will try and save herself, and it won't allow you to do an up special to try and save her.
Interesting. I wonder, like, I love these things, and I wonder what the data looks like on Nintendo's side, like as far as like who's getting played the most in quick play, what, and that there's a lot going on in this is not a small list. There's like, I don't know. I mean,
I'm assuming there's a whole team of statisticians at Sora Limited.
And looking down through the list, like, there's very little that's like, oh, decreased. Almost everything is extended launch distance, or increased this, or made it so attack does not get neutralized, or things.
Yeah, throughout Ultimate's complete life cycle, they've always done a very good job at promoting buffs over nerfs on these characters, and I think that just makes the game better. You never want to see a character get nerfed into the ground. We've seen that with like Pichu before, and then no one plays Pichu anymore because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that just kind of ruins.
I mean, and that kind of happened with Bayonetta in this game, like from the drastic change. But I like more onto what you were just saying right there. Like, even though we're not seeing percentages or numbers on all this stuff, I feel like the verbiage of it all has definitely leaned more into the fact that it's baby steps, and you're getting incremental kind of adjustments per patches, and like there's sometimes the small random patch that comes out in between character launches, but for the most part, we look forward to these character launches as well for the rebalancing a little bit, even though it's not drastic, but you're always looking for if your character is touched at all. And for me, like, my main has been touched the last like 3 or 4 updates, and then this patch, Corrin wasn't touched, and I feel like Corrin is in a lot better spot. I'm more competitive when I'm playing against Josh, and just a little bit that I've been doing online here recently, I feel like I'm a little more competitive as well. Just it's good that you see all more characters in a viable space to be able to be played.
Yeah, I'm all for it. The only thing I looked through the whole list, and the only thing it says, oh no, it's not even after reading it a second time. It's reduced the vulnerability when landing after using the move in its Lucario's up special. So they even made that so you don't, you're less so like literally there's nothing here that's like decreased. We made this like, which, I mean, that's a massive feat to balance a game like this to where you don't, I mean, look at the history of Smash, and like look at like the Fox, you'd see Fox in Melee, right? He was a big, everybody played Fox. It seems like that's most of the highlights were Fox, and then other people would come in and change that meta, right? But you look at Wii, like the Wii, and it was Meta Knight. That was like the character.
Meta Knight, yeah.
And then Wii U, Bayonetta eventually took that spot of just like the easy button. This one, it doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, even Mario's down throw to up tilt, like that was
taken out like the second or third patch.
No, it was never there. It never even made it into the they never even put it in. But
something was noted about that though in one of the patches, right?
It just in the they talked about it early on in the game, like when they did his moveset, just his down throw would
1,000-year up tilt
would have more distance, which, I mean, I'm glad that kind of stuff's gone, because that gameplay's boring. You know, that's boring to just have somebody sit in your up tilt the whole time. So it's really cool seeing the variety, and even the tournaments that we've been having. We've seen King K. Rool he got second in the tournament. We've seen Dr. Mario do really well. We've seen, you know, Mr. Cool and his young Link. Panda's been using Donkey Kong and Mario. And I think, you got Carbon pulling out the plant, you know, like you seeing the plant and Robin. And so it's really, really nice to see such a variety. I don't know. I like it. It makes it tougher learning matchups. You got to learn a lot more. You have to learn a lot more matchups, but I mean, that's fine. And so far anyway, no DLC character has like broken the game, you know, like Bayonetta did with Smash 4. So
short of Joker, but that was tuned back a little bit.
Yeah, he got but again, that's still in the hands. Like Bayonetta was like in Meta Knight, I think anybody could kind of pick them up and play them with ease, and Joker still has a little bit of a learning curve, I would assume. So moving along, I just want to talk neutral game. Mr. Cool Red Luigi here, you know, like I've been spending a lot of time in the lab working on movement, working on short hops, working on fast fall. These have been the main things. Like I would literally fire up a TikTok live and just chat with the people on there and just have my GameCube controller in hand, and sometimes not even looking at the screen, just back air fast fall, back air fast fall, back air fast fall, just over and over again, all the way across the screen, and back and forth, and learning to really use my trigger to jump more instead of hitting the Y button. And I've actually started to break a lot of my bad habits. But then last night I sat and watched some Dark Wizzy, and I watched some Prodigy, and just watched the way they play. And there's patience. Mario can be very aggressive, but it's patience. And I feel like I've kind of come up with a pattern for learning Smash. So if you're brand new, like if you've never really gotten into the game competitively, here's what I would recommend you do. You learn your character's basic moveset, right? Once you get their moveset down, learn some combos, and just spend time in the lab getting those combos down. Then after that, there's going to be a long road of learning matchups and how to play against different characters. And some of that comes by playing those characters. And then finally, once you can execute all of the moves and the combos, then it's your neutral game. And that's where you're gonna learn how to attack, how to approach, when it's safe, when it's not safe. And then when the time comes that you are able to be in the advantage state in the match, now you're going to be able to go back to that muscle memory of your combos and put the person down. And so Mr. Cool, I want to know, like, I want to kind of get into your brain a little bit when you get into, because I mean, some people joke that your main character is random, right? And yeah, I think the reason for that is because of the neutral game that you have. You're very patient, and even if you don't know the character, you know your opponent. You just look for openings. You look for them to make a mistake. You look for them to get back to stage. Our match last night, I was in a completely different mindset playing against you last night, because I was like, okay, this could be a chess match, right? Of the back and forth and looking for those opportunities to try to get an F smash in or get a grab, you know. And we had our last match was pretty back and forth, and
very close.
Yeah, and it a lot of times when I'm streaming, I don't usually put that focus into the game because I'm trying to read chat. And I'll get into just a lot of bad habits. But I was like, okay, I'm going to get in the zone right here. And I want to get in the habit of doing that more. Not only for me as a player, but also for the people I'm playing against, because I feel like it's going to help them to improve if I'm more of a worthy adversary. You know what I mean? So, but I want to get into your mindset a little bit and how, like, what goes through your head. You've got a history of fighting games, right? This goes this goes all the way back, and I got one more thing because I want to make sure I get this in here. Your playstyle compared to mine is so different because when I was a kid, I was just super aggressive in all my fighting games, and that worked against everybody in my neighborhood. It typically worked in the arcade. I never had anybody. Very rarely did I run into somebody that could beat me. And then you get into this whole new world of online, and people are patient. They wait you out. You know, I remember for a while I got into Dead or Alive 4 and learning the frames for each move that was coming out and how to counter, and it was like a whole new world. So you've got this very patient play style, and I want to kind of hear about how that came about.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've said a lot of it very, very well. You've taken, quite a bit of words already out of my mouth. When I generally start a match, and it doesn't matter who I'm playing as, but the first thing I do is I commit to an action. Am I going to be aggressive or am I going to be passive? And that commitment is going to help me try and determine a reaction from my opponent. And the first thing I want to try and do is just read how they're going to play and read how they're going to react to my actions. And if it comes out to a point to where I lose that reaction, if I get punished for doing something, then I'll 180 it and I'll try something completely different. And this all has to happen very, very quickly because, especially in Smash Bros, you can lose a match very quickly. So it's just getting a good read on your opponent, and that's just something that you can't really do in training. You've already talked about getting the moves down and doing it over and over again and getting that muscle memory and everything like that. But when it comes to actually going into a quick play match or going up against someone, then that's when you need to take another step into not only understanding how you play, but understanding how your opponent plays as well. And understanding which character they have, what they can do with that character, and then what to expect when you do something, how are they going to react to it? So it's all, and it all happens right away at the beginning. And if you don't understand that, then it can go south very, very quickly.
This might be interesting as far as conversation goes, but let's talk about some of the games, like when you've been in tournament and then maybe you get knocked out. Like what where do you think the mistake is, or what do you think often, like why do you think you lost some of those matches, and maybe you can think back to a specific one, or but just kind of elaborate on that, like what goes through your head. Is there a moment where you start to get flustered because everything you're doing isn't working, or more from just like the competitor side in you, like what's kind of going through your head?
Yeah, you had explained it by saying that it's kind of like a chess match, and it's when you start to lose that chess match is when it starts to falter. And yeah, you do end up getting a little flustered by that. Usually I don't let that get to me. I'll go to the very bitter end on it, but a lot of times it's they're just reading me a little bit better than I'm reading them, and I'm making mistakes. I start making mistakes that I normally don't make, usually out of desperation or usually out of an attempt to turn the game around. And sometimes that just doesn't work out, and then you end up kicking yourself for trying to get out of that mindset that you're so used to having, that calm collective reading that you have of an opponent, and you're trying to force things instead of reacting to what they're doing. You're trying to take over, and you're trying to bully their mindset, and that's not easy to do, and it normally doesn't work out either.
Yeah, you go from a state of trying to play your game to a state of hoping, like, well, I hope,
or reactionary.
Yeah, or that too, where you're reacting instead of causing them to to react. I mean, and part of me is just thinking back to a lot of our matches. Like I can see very vividly, young Link over my head, throwing items, right? And then me trying to figure out how to approach that. And then typically full hopping, getting hit, and just rinsing and repeating that cycle. And so it can be very frustrating on that receiving end, where then you want to win, right? There's that desire to win, and when you're getting outplayed, it's hard not to just go full tilt, and just like flip the desk and everything else.
Full tilt. We don't know anything about that. Nothing.
And like
I haven't gotten suspended from online play from banging my hands on my desk and disconnecting. I know nothing about that.
And no, generally, like there's a lot of people that I play with that know me as a person that mains Young Link, but honestly, I can't really see my Young Link being any better than maybe 30 other characters that I play as, and it's just because I don't really have the very, very small frame data down and stuff like that. It's just I know what the character can do, and I know what my opponent's character can do, and I just try and work around their attacks and work around their actions as best I can.
I think that's the biggest positive out of Smash. Like if you are struggling with matchups, the best answer is to go play that character and understand the full like repertoire that character can dish out, so that what does the most and what leads into what, and that just leads you to better match data and understanding kind of how you want to attack, or what you need to avoid, when to disengage and reset neutral, or when to press the attack, or when they're stuck in a one-dimensional recovery or something like that. You can go off the ledge and go attack them. It's just in your experience, you have what's the roster up to now? 60 something? 70? Are we 70?
I don't even know the exact number anymore.
I mean, so yeah, you got minus 3 characters. Your brain data on all that kind of stuff is probably very extensive, just to be able to analyze what you're going to do and how to attack it.
Yep. Yeah, and it's so helpful of just understanding the limits of each character, knowing how far out that smash attack reaches, know how far they can go off stage before they're not going to be able to recover anymore. It's all just ticking in my head about, oh, well, they're going to be able to do this if I do this, and I don't want them to do this, so I'm going to do something else about it. And it's all just once you get that physical mind muscle memory down, the game becomes easier, but the mindfulness, the mind side of it is just it's like a whole nother level, it feels like sometimes.
We're at 74 characters right now, I believe, and that number may not be accurate. It may not have Steve, so yeah, no, that's from November of 2019. so yeah, we're pushing 80. Not to mention Mii fighters, depending on how you make them, it's a variety of characters too, So, and again, I mean, we've covered neutral game in past shows, but like, to just break it down real quick, like neutral is when both characters are not in an advantage or disadvantage state. It's just you're essentially just staring at each other going, okay, who's gonna do what, right? And then if you go for a grab and your opponent spot dodges, you are now in a disadvantage, and you're probably gonna get grabbed, comboed, whatever the case may be. And that's essentially that's just essentially what neutral game is. And so if you're aggressive like I am, you're going to continually push and then potentially lay out your limited place, your limited plays, and your opponent's going to figure out how to pick you apart and beat you. And then when you mix things up, that's why the game gets so deep, because it's like, how many different ways can you approach with your character? How many different ways? So how many are there? And then how many are you doing? Right? And what are you doing on the edge? What are you doing when you're center stage? What are you doing when each character is at a different percentage? How does your move? Does your moves change? Right? And a lot of times, Mr. Cool, if you're young Link, it's like you just stay the course with your projectiles and your forward aerial, right? I mean, that's kind of the bread and butter with that character.
Yeah, and like if it doesn't work, then you have to try something different, and then that's when that's when you know that your opponent is winning, and that's when you know that you have to make adjustments. And if I'm doing something where I'm off stage and I'm on the ledge, and I roll up from the ledge and get punished because of that, I'm going to make sure next time that I'm on the edge or on the ledge that I'm not going to roll again, because they punished me that time. So I'm going to mix it up and do something else. And maybe they'll catch that as well, but then that's just the chess part of it is, you're making an attempt to get yourself back into the advantage, and they're trying to prevent you from doing that. And it's that's the fun of it.
You're absolutely right. That's the whole chess match right there, is like, at what point is it, do I move my pawn or do I move my rook, or whatever the move is. And as you progress in the game and you eventually focus mostly on, and I'm experiencing a handful of shifts in my Smash playing right now. One, I've recently started noticing the difference in online play versus offline play, which, to be honest, I mean, I knew it was there, but I even asked one of my last streams, I'm like, does anybody else miss inputs? Like, just flat out, you move the controller, you do the move, and it does not come out. I thought I had a faulty controller, but then I asked this, and Carbon was like, well, do you have that happen when you're playing offline? And I was like, no. He's like, well, there's your answer. It's the online. And now doing so much time in the lab and just working on moves, you can't throw them out as fast when you're online. You can't do it. The game doesn't keep up, and so
sending more packets than receiving than what's just there locally.
Exactly. And so it's that's been interesting. But the biggest shift for me and the biggest improvement has just been watching, like, when I really get focused and I'm doing these quick plays, because I'm really going to try to get Mario to Elite, and seeing him go from, like, I was down in the 100,000s, like 200 or 200,000s, right around there, be up into the three. I got him. I gained 500,000 last night, and I'm over 3 million now. And just watching my opponent, watching what they're doing, watching them come back to stage, and just feeding me my spikes. It's so funny watching the people in our community that I've played against for a long time, and a lot of them, they're people that are maybe not as far along as me, but like I won't name any names, but when they come back to the stage and they've done their double jump and they air dodge almost immediately, like, even if I don't move, they air dodge because they've been spiked before. Like, but it's a sign that they know what's coming, right? Like, they've figured out that, okay, I know my opponent is going to do this potentially, and so
I almost strategically always come back to stage to not get spiked by you.
Right? Yeah. And I mean, and
then that's when you take that next step. Then that they're expecting just the spike,
right?
So they're going to react to it and not get spiked. Maybe they're going to roll off the edge. You get in position to up smash them or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
Because you've already put that in their mind that you can do that, so that they're going to react differently.
Yeah, and now you're getting them to play your game. The trick is to do this with people that you've never played against, right? And learning those, and that's where I think Mr. Cool, where you really excel is you watch your opponent, because it's one thing to know the matchup, but you could play a really good you could play against a really good, Corrin, and somebody else could be a really good Corrin, but they may not play that character the same way at all. There's going to be similarities because the moveset's there, but they may be, throwing more projectiles or whatever the case is, and you have to you have to adjust for that. So I don't know, I could literally talk about this stuff for hours. Like I'm so back in the Smash like mindset. Like even when I'm walking my dogs, listening to a book, and all I'm thinking about is like how can I approach a little bit better and be a little more effective, and I'm gonna start approaching a little more with back air on the shields because I know it's safe. Like I'm running this through my head all the time now, because I'm just I don't know. I think watching the tournament is another thing that just watching everybody get so hyped and having everybody come together. Like, I don't know, we don't have locals right now, and this is the closest thing we have, and I love the interaction. I think it's a ton of fun. So. But well, Mr. Cool, Red Luigi, is there any places that people can find you?
Besides the Discord, I do have a Twitter. It's Mr. Cool Red Luigi. Normally I just post stuff about Smash or Rocket League or just video games in general. But I'm very I wouldn't say popular in the Discord, but I'm in there all the time.
You have a presence.
I do have a presence, and I'll talk to anyone, and it doesn't matter what you talk about. I'll get into the conversation.
Love it. Crawler, where can we find you?
Yeah, the best spot is the Discord, n64josh.com/Discord. Come hang out and watch Hate and Josh and I poke fun at each other, and we were having fun on Discord this morning. But yeah, and then brand new camera, getting ready to get the streams up and going again a little bit more. So Nightcrawler724, Nightcrawlers.e on Twitch.
There you go, guys. I'm N64Josh everywhere. Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, all the places. Come get in some Smash matches on Twitch. It's a good time. It's a really good time. Join the tournament, n64josh.com/smash. It doesn't cost you anything, and it gives you the chance to interact with a ton of different people, play with different people of all skill levels. You may be able to help some people out. Some people may be able to help you out. It's all good either way. So come hang out. We'd love to have you. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys very soon. Bye now.